Hello and welcome to this edition of the news. I'm Rukma. Let's begin with the top stories we're tracking at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses confidence that Parliament will unitedly give out a message of solidarity for soldiers guarding India's borders. Thanks all parliamentarians for choosing the path of duty, even in the crisis of Corona. Monsoon session of Parliament begins amidst elaborate safety measures. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presents supplementary demand for grants for 2020 to 21, Assisted Reproductive Technology Regulation Bill and Essential Commodities Amendment Bill introduced. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan apprises Parliament on COVID pandemic and the steps taken by the Government of India. Calls nationwide lockdown a bold decision that helped prevent 14 to 29 lakh cases. Ministry of MSME takes important steps to realize dues of MSMEs. Private sector enterprises to take measures for release of payment of MSME dues on priority. Hindi Divas being celebrated across the country today, commemorating adoption of Hindi language as one of the official languages of India. President, Prime Minister and other dignitaries greet the nation on the occasion. And in sports, Austria's Dominic Thiem wins US Open tennis tournament and his first career Grand Slam title in a fifth set tiebreak against Germany's Alexander Zverev. In our top story, the monsoon session of Parliament has begun with unprecedented precautions, including staggered sittings of both houses and social distancing between the members. Parliament started with obituary references to the passing away members who had passed away. Tributes were paid on the demise of former President Pranab Mukherjee and 13 ex-parliamentarians who passed away in the recent past. The House also paid homage to brave soldiers who fell in the line of duty. Lok Sabha Speaker expressed gratitude to Corona warriors, including representatives of doctors, nurses, ASHA workers, cleaners and the police. After this, Lok Sabha was adjourned for an hour. It is for the first time in history that both houses are being utilized for the convenience and safety of members. AIIMS Director Dr. Randeep Guleria will inform members of Parliament about precautions related to coronavirus. The monsoon session will take up 47 items during its 18 sittings till the 1st of October. 11 bills are scheduled to replace ordinances. Parliament has adopted strong measures, including the seating arrangement in a staggered way in chambers of both houses. Parliamentarians are registering their attendance through mobile app. And Prime Minister Modi has exuded confidence that Parliament will give an unequivocal message that the country stands with our soldiers.
आज जब हमारी सेना के वीर जवान सीमा पर डटे हुए हैं, जिस विश्वास के साथ वो खड़े हैं, मातृभूमि की रक्षा के लिए डटे हुए हैं, ये सदन भी, सदन के सभी सदस्य एक स्वर से, एक भाव से, एक भावना से, एक संकल्प से वो संदेश देंगे, सेना के जवानों के पीछे देश खड़ा है.
The Prime Minister thanked all parliamentarians for choosing the path of duty even in the crisis of Corona. PM Modi exuded confidence that all MPs will collectively contribute with value addition to discussions on several subjects.
एक विशिष्ट वातावरण में संसद का मानसून सत्र आज प्रारंभ हो रहा है। कोरोना भी है, कर्तव्य भी है और सभी सांसदों ने कर्तव्य का रास्ता चुना है। मैं सभी सांसदों को इस पहल के लिए बधाई देता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं और धन्यवाद भी करता हूं।
Prime Minister cautioned citizens to take utmost care till the vaccine comes. He said that the government wants that a vaccine be developed at the earliest from any corner of the world and that our scientists succeed and we succeed in bringing everyone out of this problem.
कोरोना से बनी जो परिस्थिति है उसमें जिन सतर्कताओं के विषय में सूचित किया गया है उन सतर्कताओं का पालन हम सबको करना ही करना है और ये भी साफ है जब तक दवाई नहीं तब तक कोई ढिलाई नहीं। हम चाहें कि बहुत ही जल्द से जल्द दुनिया के किसी भी कोने से वैक्सीन उपलब्ध हो, हमारे वैज्ञानिक जल्द से जल्द सफल हो और दुनिया में हर किसी को इस संकट में से बाहर निकालने में हम कामयाब हो।
And Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairperson's election is also scheduled to be held today. Again, this time Harivansh is the NDA candidate while Manoj Jha is the opposition's candidate. The BJP has issued a whip in both the houses. It is hoped that Parliament would function smoothly and important bills would be passed in the session that has been called in such a difficult time. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has apprised Parliament on the COVID pandemic and the steps taken by the Government of India. The Union Health Minister informed MPs about the steps taken by the government to deal with the pandemic. He said that 14 to 29 lakh cases were prevented due to the lockdown.
The Government of India undertook the COVID-19 challenge with the highest level of political commitment. The nationwide lockdown, a bold decision undertaken by the government, duly involving community, initiated as self-imposed Janta curfew as per the call given by the Honorable Prime Minister, is testimony to the fact that India has collectively stood up to manage COVID-19 and successfully blunted the aggressive progression of COVID.
The Union Health Minister also said that India has been able to limit its cases and deaths per million to 3,328 cases per million and 55 deaths per million population respectively, which is one of the lowest in the world as compared to similarly affected countries.
With our endeavor to manage COVID-19 through a whole of government and whole of society approach, India has been able to limit its cases and deaths per million to 3,328 cases per million and 55 deaths per million population respectively, which is one of the lowest in the world as compared to similarly affected countries.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman introduced the Essential Goods Amendment Bill 2020 in the Lok Sabha today. The Finance Minister also asked for the withdrawal of Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020 in the House. In another major step towards payment of MSME dues by different sectors, Union Ministry of MSME has now impressed upon the private sector enterprises of the country to take measures for release of payment of MSME dues on priority. During the announcement of Atmanirbhar Bharat package, it was stressed that MSME receivables and dues should be paid in 45 days. Accordingly, Ministry of MSME took up the matter aggressively with central ministries, their departments and central public sector enterprises. Around 10,000 crore rupees has been reported to have been paid by the ministries and CPSEs. Taking the efforts now further deeper, the ministry has directly taken up the issue with top 500 corporate groups of the country. Ministry has written e-letters to the owners, CMDs and top executives of these 500 corporates. While conveying its support and solidarity in these difficult times, Ministry has strongly taken up the issue of pending payments of MSMEs. BJP Chief JP Nadda today launched Seva Saptah Abhiyan from Gautam Budh Nagar, Uttar Pradesh. The Seva Saptah is being organized on the occasion of the birthday of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which is on the 17th of September. Different social initiatives will be undertaken by party leaders across the nation during this week-long Seva Saptah period. The party is planning to mark the occasion with initiatives such as drives for mask distribution, blood donation and food and fruit distribution among the poor. Seva Saptah will continue till the 20th of September.
देश के लोकप्रिय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का जन्मदिन 17 तारीख को पड़ता है और इस बार वो 70 वर्ष के हो रहे हैं। इसलिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने तय किया कि 14 तारीख से लेकर के 20 तारीख तक सेवा सप्ताह, क्योंकि उनके जीवन में और उनकी जीवनी में अगर हम देखें तो सेवा प्रमुख लक्ष्य रहा है। भारत की सेवा, जनता की सेवा, दीनदयाल की सेवा, दलित की सेवा, पिछड़े की सेवा, शोषित की सेवा, जो समाज के अंतिम पायदान पर खड़ा है उसकी सेवा करना, यह उनका जीवन का ध्येय रहा, लक्ष्य रहा। इसको हमको समझना चाहिए।
And let's now take a look at updates on COVID-19 from across the country. India continues to report a high number of recoveries exceeding 70,000 per day. Focused, collaborative, responsive and effective measures of early identification through high and aggressive testing, prompt surveillance and tracking coupled with standardized high-quality clinical care have in tandem led to this result. 77,512 recoveries were made in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative total of recovered patients to 37,80,107. With this, the recovery rate currently stands at 78%. India's three-pronged strategy of test, trace and treat is proving to be a success. The fatality rate has dropped to 1.64%. The number of active COVID cases in India stands at 9,86,598, which is 20.36% of the total cases reported so far. And the centre-led COVID management strategies have focused on early detection through widespread, easy and aggressive testing. According to the ICMR's latest data, 9,78,500 people have been tested in a single day. The total number of people tested so far stands at 5,72,39,428. The centre's focused, calibrated and effective strategies have manifested in a high level of recoveries and a sustained low fatality rate. There are some states and union territories reporting even better recovery and case fatality rates than the national average. This is the result of ramped up healthcare infrastructure, centre's standard treatment protocol enabling standardized, quality and effective healthcare and dedicated selfless service of doctors, paramedics and support staff in hospitals and healthcare facilities. And following all major COVID protocols, Kolkata Metro started its services from 8 a.m. today. After the closure for more than 5 months, Metro services resumed today. Thermal screening and hand sanitization is compulsory at all metro stations. Passengers are strictly instructed to take precautionary measures like social distancing and masks. Metro officials say that passengers have to download the Kolkata Metro Rail mobile app through which they can book an e-pass 4 to 6 hours before the journey. Prime Minister has tweeted, "The greatest strength of Mann Ki Baat is the diverse range of inputs received from people across India. This month's episode will take place on the 27th of September. I urge you all to share your ideas on the Namo app @MyGovIndia or by dialing 1800117800. Union Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Kiren Rijiju today laid foundation stones for various sports facilities in Leh. The minister laid the foundation for a synthetic track and astroturf for football grounds in Leh and an open stadium and a gymnasium hall in NDS Indoor Stadium. A special focus to tap the natural talent in Ladakh, the Sports Ministry is developing sports infrastructure in the region. Facilities in Leh will be a step forward for the sports development in the Union Territory. And Hindi Divas is being celebrated across the country today. The day commemorates the adoption of Hindi language as one of the official languages of India on the 14th of September 1949. Films Division will be streaming films on Rajbhasha. 5 films on Hindi will be available for 24 hours free viewing. The films being streamed are Witness to Our Constitution, Samvidhan Ke Sakshi, which depicts interesting aspects of the Constituent Assembly meeting and the decision to make Hindi an official language of India on the 14th of September 1949. Prime Minister Narendra Modi greeted the nation on the occasion of Hindi Divas. In a tweet, he said, I quote, "All the very best on the occasion of Hindi Divas. Congratulations to all linguists who contributed in the development of Hindi." Union Information and Broadcasting Minister also extended greetings on Hindi Divas. He said, "India's every language is beautiful and great. Greetings to all on Hindi Divas." Union Home Minister Amit Shah gave a message to countrymen on Hindi Divas, in which he expressed gratitude to all who had contributed to the strengthening of the language. He talked about the greatness of Hindi and added that Hindi has been an effective and powerful medium of national unity and identity since the freedom struggle.
हिंदी हमारे देश के स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के समय से राष्ट्रीय एकता और अस्मिता का प्रभावी व शक्तिशाली माध्यम रही है। हिंदी के सबसे बड़ी शक्ति इसकी वैज्ञानिकता, मौलिकता, सरलता, सुबोधता और स्वीकार्यता भी है। हिंदी भाषा की विशेषता है कि इसमें जो बोला जाता है वो ही लिखा जाता है।
With the new education policy of the Modi government, there will be parallel development of Hindi and other Indian languages. He said that under Atmanirbhar Bharat, e-tools for Hindi language are being developed.
प्रधानमंत्री जी के आत्मनिर्भर भारत के अभियान को आगे बढ़ाते हुए राजभाषा विभाग द्वारा हिंदी के लिए ई-टूल्स सुदृढ़ करने का काम किया जा रहा है। वोकल फॉर लोकल के अंतर्गत किए जा रहे कार्यों में विभाग द्वारा निर्मित स्मृति आधारित अनुवाद टूल कंठस्थ का विस्तार किया जा रहा है, जिससे अनुवाद के क्षेत्र में समय की बचत करने के साथ साथ एकरूपता और उत्कृष्टता भी सुनिश्चित की जा सके।
Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Suga Yoshihide has been elected the new leader of the main ruling Liberal Democratic Party. Suga received 377 votes in the ruling Liberal Democratic Party election to pick a successor to Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who announced last month that he would resign due to health problems. The other two contenders received a combined 157 votes. He is expected to win a vote in the Diet on Wednesday to become Prime Minister. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu left for Washington to attend the signing ceremony of Israel's normalization agreements with the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. Israel and the UAE last month agreed to normalize ties. The deal was brokered by the United States. A month later, on September 11th, King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa of Bahrain officially agreed to a similar deal in a trilateral phone conversation with US President Donald Trump and Netanyahu. The signing ceremony for both agreements is scheduled to take place at the White House on Tuesday. Israel has imposed a new national lockdown to contain the spread of coronavirus after a second wave surge of new cases. The lockdown will remain in place for at least 3 weeks. During this, Israelis will have to stay within 500 meters of their homes but can travel to workplaces that will be allowed to operate on a limited basis. Schools and shopping malls will be closed, but supermarkets and pharmacies will remain open. The public sector will operate with fewer staff, but non-governmental offices and businesses will not have to close as long as they do not accept customers. Indoor gatherings are limited to 10 people and no more than 20 people outdoors. Israel has become the first country in the world to reimpose national lockdown due to fears of COVID-19. In Syria, nearly 40 lakh students returned to school on Sunday as the new academic year began amid precautions against COVID-19. The school's opening was initially scheduled for the beginning of September but was postponed until Sunday over COVID concerns. Schools opened with strict guidelines which include maintaining social distancing, wearing face masks and constant disinfection of hands in school premises. If 5% of students in a certain school are found to be infected with the virus, the school will be shut for 15 days. Syria has reported 3,540 coronavirus cases, while 155 have lost their lives so far. In Belgium, thousands of health workers took to the streets of Brussels on Sunday to protest underfunding of the healthcare system and working conditions. The protesters said the corona crisis has exposed the fragility of the healthcare system. They called on politicians to increase pay for staff and healthcare funding. Health workers in Belgium did not get a salary hike, have not received a salary hike since 1994. And now here's a look at updates on COVID-19 from across the world. Over 2 crore and 90 lakh corona cases have been reported worldwide, with over 9 lakh 20,000 deaths. Over 2 crore 10 lakh people have recovered from the virus so far. The United States continues to top the list among worst hit by the pandemic so far. With the highest number of infections, the US has over 67 lakh cases of coronavirus with a death toll of over 1,98,000. In terms of deaths, Brazil stands second on the chart with 1,30,000 deaths. There are 43,30,000 cases of COVID-19 in Brazil. And on to sports. In the US Open, Austria's Dominic Thiem has clinched his first Grand Slam title, fighting against Alexander Zverev and defeating him 2-6, 4-6, 6-4, 6-3, 7-6 in the finals. After losing 3 finals on the trot, he became the youngest Grand Slam champion and winner of the first maiden Grand Slam champion since Marin Cilic in 2014. The win, which took more than 4 hours, marks the first time an Austrian has ever won the US Open. Thiem is also the first to ever come back from 2 sets down in a US Open singles final to win, and the first men's Grand Slam champion who was born in the 1990s. And with that, we wind up this edition of the news. News and updates continue on DD News and DD India. Namaskar.